What do you do when the engine breaks down with no land in sight and 600 nautical miles to go? Find out in this episode of Sailors and Seadogs. In our last episode, we spent a week at sea sailing from Rabat, Morocco to Arrecife, Lanzarote, Spain, one of the Canary Islands. Mike loves to say that sailors change plans more often than they change their underwear. And this was especially true in this passage. In fact, our plans changed even before we set sail. During this passage, we needed to make even more adjustments. We had some engine issues about 300 miles offshore, but fortunately, we are traveling in a sailboat and not a motorboat, so we were able to rely on the free power of the wind. Making adjustments is often necessary and simply just a way of life for sailors. We intended to leave on December 23rd and sail to Tenerife, one of the other Canary Islands, but the weather had something else in mind. 30-knot winds rocked the Canaries for a couple of days, so we made the adjustment and instead created a passage plan to set sail on Christmas Day and sail 1,058 nautical miles straight to Mindelo, Cape Verde. As we began to leave Arrecife in our backwater, things almost immediately began to get rough. Huge swells came in from the Atlantic as we made our way into the open ocean.
Hey, good morning. It's the first morning at sea. We're on our way for approximately 16-17 hours. And it's been beautiful weather so far. The wind was a little weak in the night, but the old waves were still standing, and that was a little uncomfortable. But now it's good. The wind picked up a little bit, so we have 11-12 knots, like 3-4. Now we have all sails up, including the pusher, which is our main staysail, and the jib other sail. We're making between 4.5 and 5.5 knots. So there's still a chance to make it to Mindelo as planned. We're now at the eastern edge of Fuerteventura, and that's probably the last time we got to catch some internet and some cell service before we're off the grid for good. Not for good, for the next 8 days. This is the southern edge of Fuerteventura, and over there in the distance is the island of Gran Canaria. The last land we're gonna see for the next 8 to 20 days if we keep the speed.
There's just something crazy about day 3 for some reason. Yesterday I wasn't feeling very well all day. I had a decent night. Oh, it's crazy this morning. Day 3. Between the Canaries and Cape Verde. Mike's happy that we finally have some speed, but I wouldn't mind some calm waters. As I was recovering from my typical early passage seasickness, some dolphins came along and cheered me up. I said, a live long day. Baby got her shoes on, she wants to move. Yes. Looking for trouble, honey, is it you? Feel the world under her feet, all the cracks up in the concrete. Take a step back, she's coming through. But soon, an alarm sounded in the cockpit. Engine coolant was leaking. Mike checked it out and decided to err on the side of caution. We fired up our portable generator to charge the batteries until Mike could learn more about what was causing the fresh water to leak.
Yesterday was kind of a battle. First I was pretty sick all day, and I don't know what it is about day 3. But we also had some struggles just keeping the boat afloat. We found out that the engine was leaking water, coolant, and so Mike spent some time down in the engine room while I spent time over the rail. And we also had some issues with the furling mechanism on the Genoa sail. And so we continue to kind of fight that battle, trying to get it squared away. It's one of those things where it seems fine when we're in port, but when we get out to sea, it's not functioning properly, and that's when it's hardest to fix it. The good news is the wind has really picked up. We finally picked up some speed. The sails seem to really be cushioning the blow of the heavy waves. So that's been a relief, but we're still at a pretty heavy tilt, so it's not like normal living, but it's good. It's much more comfortable, and we're getting some speed, so hopefully we'll get there soon. It's the morning of day 5, and we've sailed 400 nautical miles, so we're not even halfway there. But we've picked up a lot of speed. We've gone about 5.5 knots, which is pretty fast for Seadogs. We had a little bit of drama yesterday. Mike spent most of the day in the engine room, and hopefully we'll get that problem solved. The good news is right now we don't need the engine because we've got great wind and great speed, but we need it to charge the batteries for the autopilot. So we've been using the generator, and we're really happy that we have it. It's kind of annoying when it's on. It's very smelly and fumy and loud, but at least we have it. What happened?
The inner cooling circuit of the motor is leaking. There's a crack in the casing, and I'm trying to temporarily fix it. Sealant, and we'll need to drill and at the beginning of the track, so that it does not crack further. I'm gonna squeeze in some sealant and then refill with water as all that works.
Nice, give it a try. Take care.
After drilling the 2 holes, one at the beginning and one at the end of the crack, to prevent it from cracking further, Mike then tried to apply emergency leakage paste to the crack. This kind of paste is not designed for hot environments under pressure, but it's generally a very effective paste. We filled the cooling system with fresh water and cranked the engine. The water found its way through the crack almost immediately. We applied the only other kind of sealant that we'd have on board, Sikaflex. We let it dry for about 2 hours, then we cranked the engine and held our breath. After about 20 minutes, water again began to drip, however at a reduced rate. Considering this slow drippage rate, Mike calculated that we had about 1 to 1.5 hours of running time before the engine would overheat. He was worried that if we tried to use the engine, we could cause further damage. He decided to save what little functionality it had left for when we arrived in Cape Verde. We would need it for the mooring maneuver, but that was still 600 nautical miles away.
So day 6, December 30th. It's Sunday, I think. And we've been at sea for about 112 hours. And we've passed the halfway mark. So we're at about 520 or so miles, 525 miles toward Cape Verde. And things are looking good, sort of. The good news is we have wind and we have sails. The bad news is we really don't have an engine that we can use for emergencies or to charge the batteries. So we've fired up the generator, and you can hear it in the background. It's kind of annoying, but that's charging the batteries. And last night, Mike spent 4 hours manually steering and just turned off the autopilot, and this really saved some energy. And so we're going to do this some more today. He's taking a morning rest. He just went off shift from overnight, and so we'll exercise some manual steering and just kick it old school. And the good news is we're not a motorboat, we're a sailing boat, so we should be just fine with the wind and the sails. The wind is really strong, and the other thing is the wind indicator was not working last night, so we also just had to watch the wind on our own. We couldn't, when we were using the autopilot, we couldn't set it to the wind course. We just had to set it to a regular course and continue to adjust the sails and watch things. But the wind stayed pretty consistent, so it was not a problem. So we did have one warm meal yesterday, but we probably shouldn't have tried to cook. It was really kind of dangerous. It's still a little rocky. The waves are here, and they're choppy and big at times. It's certainly not unmanageable. Yeah, we still haven't had a shower. But the good news is neither one of us have, so I can kind of smell my own stink, but I don't really smell Mike's, and hopefully it's the same for him. We also crossed the Tropic of Cancer last night, so we are officially in tropical waters. It's been 3 days since I felt queasy or been seasick, and it's been 3 days since I took any seasick medicine. So I'm just wondering if maybe it's the seasick medicine that makes me seasick. And so I've stopped taking it. I've just decided to go back to my potato in my left hand. This just works better for me. Hold the potato in my left hand, and it's psychological, and it just seems to work better than all that harsh medicine. I get sick with it, I get sick without it, but with it I also get bad headaches and just really uncomfortable feeling all the time. So it's not really helping me, I've decided. And so I'm just gonna go to my potato. Day 7 of our voyage to Cape Verde. We have traveled about 630 or so miles, and it's New Year's Eve, and it's an absolutely glorious morning. It is so beautiful out today. We have some perfect sailing conditions, not a cloud in the sky, and we've been cruising along like this for several days. Yesterday we were able to get showers and a warm meal, and that was really nice. We kind of felt civilized again, so that was good. And we did spend most of the day manually steering the boat, and we did this mainly to save the energy. During the day we let the solar panels and the wind generator charge the batteries while we manually sailed. The autopilot really takes up a lot of energy, so we saved the autopilot for the night shift. We're still using the generator some. We're getting a little bit low on fuel for the generator, so we kind of want to save it too, just in case. But we're cruising along. It is really great sailing. The wind has just been steady. This must be what the trade winds feel like. And it's been really pleasant and really enjoyable. Mike, we think, finally got the furling mechanism fixed on the Genoa yesterday. He spent most of the day doing boat tours and keeping us afloat. So he had a long day, but still good sailing, and it's a great day to bring in the new year.
All stations, the crew of sailing vessel Seafalke wishes everyone a happy new year, a safe voyage, and return home to your families. An alle Schiffe, die Crew des Segelschiffs Seefalke wünscht allen Seeleuten ein frohes neues Jahr und eine gute Reise. Всем морякам на Атлантике, экипаж парусного судна Seefalke с Новым годом! So it's been a week and we're still at sea. We have passed the 20th latitude and headed further southwest. We're right in the trade wind belt. In the middle of the trade wind belt, so we have northeasterly winds all the time, and which is perfect for our destination, Mindelo, in the Cape Verde Islands. But the swell has grown and has increased really high. I mean, I know you can't see it on the pictures, but we have about a 4+ meter swell. I mean, it's very long waves. They're not breaking, they're not dangerous of any kind, but they're very high and they're very uncomfortable. And this is why that swell forced us to take a westerly and almost a northwesterly course. That's why I took down the mainsail, so that the mainsail would not block the Genoa, and so we could almost take a downwind course and have the swell not from the side but from behind, almost behind, which makes life here just a little bit more comfortable.
Home moves with me where I roam. It's in every dream I make my own. I'm never alone. I know that every day will always bring me something new.
So we have 109 miles to go. We haven't been close to land. We haven't been that close to land for many days now.
We're day 10 or 11. I believe it's January 3rd.
I believe it's January 3rd. I believe it's Thursday, right?
I think so.
It's Thursday or is it Wednesday? I don't know. It's
I lost track of the calendar a long time ago.
Yeah, we're straight downwind course. Final leg of the wind continue to blow like this. We're gonna be in Mindelo tomorrow afternoon. Worst case is we pull into the bay at nighttime, wait for daylight at Anchorage, and moor the boat in the morning of the 5th.
What's the situation about the engine?
Still the same. Crack is, I could not completely seal the crack. I estimate that we have about 1 to 1.5 hours engine runtime left with the one filling of fresh water. We got pulled to the anchorage under sail, and yeah, we make sure that we only use the motor less than an hour for the berthing maneuver.
Okay, meanwhile we're conserving energy with the generator and using the generator to charge the batteries, and also the solar and wind.
Yeah, we could probably could be completely self-sufficient with solar and wind, if we would abandon the autopilot, but it's just tough. It's a tough thing to do, to completely manual steer. So we prefer a little bit of comfort, and we fire up the generator twice a day to keep our batteries charged to be able to run the autopilot.
And my future won't exist without living now, so I spread all my footprints around, yeah. I know that every day will always bring me something new.
Hey, land ho!
Woohoo! Land ho!
Yeah, feels good, huh?
Yeah, we can barely see
land.
We can barely see the mountaintops, but it's there.
Yeah, we've been looking at the wrong angle. It's much higher than we expected because the land's so high here. It's like 2,000 meters from the mountain.
It's been a long passage, our longest ever together.
Yeah, our longest ever till now.
Yeah, 233 hours and 1,030 miles so far. We're still not there yet.
Still not there yet. Still a few miles to go.
So now we have to start reminding ourselves that we don't really have our normal use of an engine. So we have a plan to get to the marina under sail.
Yeah, we're going to sail into the channel between the two islands and sail into, probably just before we enter the channel, I take down the Genoa and replace it with a jib, because this locals say there is a wind increase in the channel, like the Venturi effect. So I take down the Genoa, put up the jib, and then we sail under jib. We're going to sail into the bay, where we're going to call the marina on radio, and when we have clearance to enter the marina, we prepare the engine to start and enter the marina using the engine.
Okay, good.
So we have about 1 hour, I think, 1 hour, maybe 1.5 hours of engine runtime that we can count on.
Okay, it'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Well, that was a really long passage, and it was rough at first, but it was really fun. I don't know, 8 days or something like that without seeing another ship or any land. We've settled into a great routine on board, and it's making me think that I can make it across the Atlantic.
Crossing the Atlantic is less than 2 times this distance.
Yeah, so it's just a little more than twice as long as this one, right?
A little less.
A little less than twice as long as this passage. So of course we can do it, and it was actually really cool at times. It was really enjoyable, and but it's always good to see land. So that's cool too. Hello, Cape Verde!
We sailed into the bay just outside of Marina Mindelo. We made a sharp portside tack and marveled at the detailed layers of remarkable brown mountains and small island formations that just a few hours before were only a faint silhouette on the horizon. We were waiting until the last possible minute to use the engine. Once inside the bay, we began to furl in the Genoa, but again, the furling mechanism malfunctioned, giving us another challenge. Mike had to slice the sheath, and once we got all the sails down and secured, we took our chances with the engine. It started. We made our way into the marina entrance, but the end of the cut sheath had gotten tangled in the propeller, and we had to make something of a crash landing next to the fueling station. Mike put on his scuba mask and took a dive underneath Sea Falca to retrieve the tangled mess of what was left of the sheath. We then moored safely and began immediately making repairs to our battle-worn ship. In the next episode, we make final preparations and set sail on our Atlantic crossing with Barbados in our sights. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, and subscribe to our channel. For more details about this and all our adventures, please visit our website.